Me? Those days are long behind me. I don't think I've held a balloon since I was a child.
Then you've forgotten what it's like
To hold a balloon?
to be a child.
Congratulations on winning April's 11-second club contest. Hi, my name is Paul Allen. I am a computer animator. I've been working in the industry since '97. I've worked in TV, film, and gaming industry. I've worked at DNA Productions on the Jimmy Neutron movie and series and the Ant Bully movie. I've worked at ReelFX on several of their features. I've worked at Terminal Reality, a game company in Dallas. And I've most recently, I am at id Software, where I just completed, we just completed and released Doom Eternal. So I've been splitting my time between TV, film, and games for about 50% of my career. But currently in the gaming industry, and I love it. Taking a look at your work, I really love this piece. I noticed, I did take a look that it had said that you had, it was the 50s, visiting a fun fair, a couple stumble upon a wise balloon seller. And you've had industry experience, and it shows. It's the composition is beautiful, the drawings are beautiful. I love the depth in the background. The color choices is really lovely piece. And considering you just spent a week on it, that's really nice, and it shows your experience.
Me? Those days are long behind me. I don't think I've held a balloon since I was a child.
Then you've forgotten what it's like
To hold a balloon?
to be a child.
Me?
The characters stay on model really nicely. You have really nice style to your work. I think the biggest thing, as far as like a constructive feedback, it felt a little bit like things were being overemphasized with the dialogue, as far as like the amount of anticipation and movement. I really like that you have little arcs in your movement.
Those days are long behind me. I don't think I've held a balloon since I was a child.
I just think on some of the dialogue, you could tone down how much anticipation, overshoot, and settle, and how it's a little bit snappy. That's sort of subjective feedback, to be honest, because it just stylistically depends on really what you're going for. But like, I like this little laugh here. Like the overshoot up and then settle and then come back, settle down and then come back right here.
Child.
When he says child, it feels a little bit poppy to me, and it could be softened down a little bit. Looking at their eye line, is that where?
Me? Those days are long behind.
Let's see where we get the wide shot of all of them, or the wider shot of all of them, is that he is down here, and their eye line ends up being sort of down this way. So you get this difference between where they are and where he is. And then when we start out, is that
Me?
he says me, and I can see his eyes being up, but it feels like they're looking right at the camera. And then he continues to look straight ahead, looks at her. That's a nice change of direction. Nice drag in the face. But they both end up looking square at the camera, right around here in this area, and he's down. I would imagine they would have to look down here for him, where his head height is. A little bit of an eye line thing that could be slightly adjusted. Get rid of all this to where you bring, where you end up just bringing her eye line maybe a little bit more down. And you could even bring her head slightly down. It depends on like trying to stay on model and using the limited technique that you're doing, because that's very quick and efficient to animate, which I like. You can get a lot of volume of work out quickly. Just from this, from comparing the woman's angles, like this eye line, the eye line here is perfect because this is establishes where they're at. When she's turned towards him, I think she might, as far as appeal of her face, it feels like it's too much turned at him. And I think if it was more 3/4 and then looking out of the corner of her eyes more, that might be a little bit more visually appealing for her face. Or her face feels a little, to me, feels a little too angular, and it's too much like she's turning 90 degrees to look at him, when a lot of times if somebody's talking, you'll just be turning sort of like this. You won't be turning, looking like this, and then turning like this, and then looking like that. It's maybe just a little bit too overpronounced, and it makes her head turn feel a little bit sharper than it really needs to be.
The balloon since I was a child.
Like it's too much movement to go from looking when she could be. She's like, you have a triangle of the man looking from overhead, the man, her, and then the balloon seller. And then when you're talking in a group, if somebody, your companion is talking, you might glance over at them, but you wouldn't turn all the way to them like that. And it's a small thing, subjective, because like I said, this is a limited technique, but I think it would go more, a little bit more to her appeal of why she's turning so much towards him. Same thing for him. Does he really need to turn all the way to look at her when he knows she's right there? You know, a little bit more 3/4, you might have a little bit more chance for an appealing look. I like his look overall. I love the little secondary motions that you're doing with his arm, the balloon seller's arm retracting back. A little squash and stretch, very nice, keeping him on model. And just that little bit, because you got the three main moving areas. You have his body, you have his head, the three main masses, and then you have the hand. So with those three shapes, you're getting some nice squash and stretch, and some nice nice sense of drag, and some nice arcs on that as well.
Balloon.
To be a child.
Me? Those days are long behind me. I don't think I've held a balloon since I was a child.
And you've forgotten what it's like.
And with the balloon set, what it's like, I don't know if I don't know if you need to have as far of a dip down when he's emphasizing at the end of like. I don't know if, I think you could soften that a little bit, and it would have the same effect. It feels like too big of a movement for as close in as we are to him.
Hold a balloon.
To be a child.
And just here at the end,
To be a child.
Me?
Is to maybe just leave him lean forward, and you can still have the accent on it when he says to be a child. But he's whispering to them, to the man, and to be a child, and leave him leaned forward a little bit more instead of drawing him backwards like that. Other than that, I mean, It's just considering the speed at which you did this piece, and the drawings are, like I said, are really lovely, and I love the how you got the sense of depth of the fairground.
Those days are long behind me. I don't think I've held a balloon since I was a child.
Have you forgotten what it's like
To hold a balloon.
to be a child?
And just the little movements on the balloon, and it's you did a lot with a little, so that really I think that really speaks to your skill of breaking apart elements and keeping things simple, and I really like that. I think just a few subjective areas, like I was talking about with toning some things down, eye lines and things like that, but considering you did it in a week, I think it's really, really nice piece. So congratulations, and I'll talk to you later.